Requiem is a month away at this point, ladies and gentlemen, and boy, am I excited. But what you need to do for this video is get your best aluminum foil out, turn it into a hat, and put it on, because we are going crazy with the harebrained conspiracy theory nonsense. So, as you saw by the title, Leon is Patient Zero. He is the original carrier of Elpis. I don't know what you're thinking, Twitchy. Are you serious? Well, a lot of people think, because of what's on his neck, he's actually infected. What if that is what remains of his infection? What if, similar to the Plaga, he was forcibly injected with Elpis to do the bidding of the government? Victor Gideon, maybe, just maybe, Alyssa, we all know, with the help of Yoko, brought down Umbrella. So what if ultimately she was on the cusp of bringing down the United States government and revealing to the world their hand in the destruction of Umbrella? You gotta think, I know people don't like to think about 6. I don't think it's a bad game. I don't think it's a bad Resident Evil game. But think about what Simmons and the family did to keep their secret safe about the United States hand in the destruction of one of their own cities. I want you to think about that. They were willing to take out President Benaford and an entire town just to keep their secrets safe. There's no telling what the government, many years later, more refined at what they do, or is willing to do to keep their secret safe. Not everybody's President Benaford. So, my theory is that Leon was given a task. He was said, you can take out Alyssa for us, and you can walk away, never have to do the government job again. He refused to, so they decided to use their new creation, Elpis, forcibly injected in with it, and now he was doing the bidding of the government. He was given a test to get the antibodies of Alyssa's daylight, the daylight vaccine that's coursing through her body, get those antibodies, and take her out. So we can pretty much case in point theorize that she did not have the antibodies in her system anymore. So she was taken out, and here comes Grace many years later, studying the effects of Elpis and being tested, suspiciously go to the place where her mom died. Why would her own boss send her there? There's clearly something more nefarious to it. But ultimately, I think Leon's the one who takes Alyssa's life. There's clearly a reason we're not seeing his eyes, why the hood is completely covered over him. Now, many people could say that's George, but what if that's Leon? What if ultimately the big twist, the big reveal is that Leon was the original carrier of the Elpis virus and was the one that killed Alyssa? That may seem crazy, but honestly, I think it makes a lot of sense, in all honesty. It just checks all the boxes. Why else would they not show his eyes? I mean, Leon has very distinct eyes, so it would make sense in a way not to reveal who this person is. So what if it is Leon under the controls of Elpis? You know, he gets cured, he still has the remains of the virus where he got injected at. Nothing was ever going to go away, because truth be told, we've seen what viruses do to characters that aren't the main cast, and at that point where you're infected, you're pretty much goner. But what if that was what remains of his infection of Elpis? Now, to get even further and get more crazy conspiracy theory, we take one look at the bioweapons in Requiem, and then I want you to look at the bioweapon at the end of Village. They look suspiciously similar. One could make the argument that Leon was the test run of Elpis, and once they see he did well under the controls of it, they start mass producing it, cure him, and BSA has their perfect little soldiers willing to do whatever they're told. Now, do I think that's ultimately what's going on here? No, but wouldn't it be insane if that was such a deep cut in the deep story thread? Yes, Leon being the reason that the BSAA is using bioweapons would be insane. It would be completely out there and blowing people's minds. And I would be into it, honestly, because I'm not a big fan of Village. I think the whole Mother Miranda being the reason Umbrella exists is very cheap, and cheap in Sue Spencer is, but that would be such a bad blow to someone like Leon, who's all about helping each other and saving lives, that he's ultimately the cause of so much death and destruction, and wants to course correct it once he remembers that he was forced to kill Alyssa. Maybe he was witnessing it through his eyes the entire time, but couldn't stop himself. Like, wouldn't that be insane? One of Capcom's most beloved heroes is used to commit unspeakable evil, and he couldn't stop himself. Now, that could be very much wrong. That could be far out there, but honestly, I kind of like that idea. I'm a big Leon fan. I would argue I'm one of Leon's best favorite, one of his fans. I love Leon. RE2 is what made me love Resident Evil, what got me into Resident Evil, playing as Leon A at 7 years old, middle of the night, overcoming my fear of the unknown. Like, Leon's my favorite character, but that would be a cruel twist of fate that he's ultimately the reason Elpis exists and why people like the BSAA and the government are using it. Now, clearly, that could very well not be the case. Would it be awesome? I think so. It'd be very interesting, to say the least. But that's just what's been running through my head lately. I think there's a reason why. Obviously, the reason why is that's where his injection point was. He was cured. He doesn't remember anything, but he starts to remember things, and he ultimately stumbles upon Grace and realizes he can course correct the horrible mistake he made. Or this could happen. Grace finds out that Leon killed her mom, and as he's trying to explain himself, she just blows him away, and that's how the game ends, where she dabs on his corpse, and Capcom gets her to look right at the screen and says, "I'm the Resident Evil killer now." Of course, that is a joke. Do not take that seriously. I think ultimately Leon's gonna sacrifice himself, because I think I think he's the one who killed Alyssa. I think he's ultimately the reason Elpis exists in the form that it does. Maybe at some point, the government and Gideon parted ways because they didn't like how crazy he was gone. He's a former Umbrella scientist. Obviously, that's probably, they're evil, but they're not that evil, I guess. Again, there's a multitude of ways they could approach this, but I just feel it. I feel like the director said it himself. He has a big secret connected to Elpis. So why wouldn't that big secret be that Leon is the original carrier of Elpis? He was the first victim to fall to it and used as a government pawn to take out Alyssa, who was so close to revealing the truth of the U.S. government's ties to what happened in Raccoon City almost 30 years ago. Wouldn't that be such a sick, unhinged reveal that our boy Leon was used against his own will to commit an unspeakable act of murder? Bear in mind, he was fine with killing people in Vendetta, blowing up entire vehicles with people in it, so it's not like he's not. I'm joking. Please do not take that seriously. Gosh, those movies are garbage. I love the stupidity of Vendetta, but my goodness, those are crap. But you see what I'm saying? Like, wouldn't that be such a gut punch to us as fans, knowing that Leon was doing something against his will, killing such a beloved character like Alyssa? The thing is, Alyssa has only been an outbreak. She's mentioned in an article she wrote about what was going on in Louisiana. But wouldn't that be just such a gut punch to us as fans that Leon was the one who killed Alyssa? That would be it'd be brutal to know that Leon, unable to stop himself, killed Alyssa for Gideon and the government to stop her from revealing the truth of what happened in Raccoon City those years ago. You see, to think about it, Alyssa and Yoko brought down Umbrella. Who would it be for Alyssa to bring down the U.S. government for what they did destroying Raccoon City? It would be insane, because I can't wait to see what they do with Alyssa, with Grace. Possible outbreak characters, Sherry, maybe even Ada. You know, they said there's going to be some legacy characters in here, but it's not going to be crazy or out there. But I'm excited either way. That's just something I thought about lately. Like, the more I think about how Leon looks right here, that clearly could be the fact that he's no longer infected. That he's ultimately, that's just what's left of the infection after he was cured. Like, again, that's where he got injected with the Plaga sample, if I recall. The Plaga by Mendez. So, anything is possible at this point. I'm looking forward to February 27th. I kid you not, I'm taking an entire week off. I'm going to be sitting down and playing through it and having a lot of fun with it. And I'm excited, y'all. I'm looking forward to Requiem. I cannot wait to see what they do with Leon, what they do with Alyssa, what they do with Grace. The possibilities are truly are endless. But we have made it to the end of the video, and of course, I want to hear from y'all. What do you think about this harebrained conspiracy theory nonsense? Do you think Leon's actually the original carrier of Elpis? Do you think he's the one that killed Alyssa? And he's ultimately trying to correct the mistake he made, taking Alyssa's life by helping Grace? Like, let me know down below. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. It helps your boy get into the algorithm. And of course, if you're feeling super generous, maybe consider subscribing to keep updated when I post, whenever that is. As much as I work, probably not at all. But that's it. That's the video. I love you all. I'll see you all in the next one. Take it easy.